Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. My name is Tanya Friedman, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Connetics USA. We help healthcare organizations all over the United States with the nursing shortage by bringing in internationally educated nurses. And I have with me today two of our internationally educated nurses. Hi, Grace. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Bong. Welcome.
Hi.
We are excited to hear both Grace and Bong's story today, and I'd like to welcome everybody who is watching from all over the world. Today is Friday, and every Friday we do our show, Onwards and Upwards. This is a show for nurses all over the world to learn about what it takes to come and live and work in the US. Today's segment is called Stateside. So the topic for today is Florida. Both Grace and Bong live in Florida, and they're going to be sharing their experience about what it's like to live in Florida, what they like, what they maybe don't like so much, because no place is perfect, but a lot of information about what the housing's like, what the taxes are like, the cost of living, the climate, what there is that's fun to do, where is Florida. So lots of information coming your way about Florida. So if you are an international nurse and you have dreamt of coming to the US, Onwards and Upwards is a wonderful place for you to gain information, learn about immigration, licensing, as well as information about the states. And as I said, today we are talking about Florida. So let's get started. Let's get started with our success path. Our success path is just how international nurses can think about coming to the US. So you'll see here in front of you, the first step is your NCLEX, second is preparation for the interview, third is the visa screen, fourth is the licensing, fifth is the get ready game plan, six is arrival sequence, seven is enjoy and prosper. So that's where Grace and Bong are right now. They are enjoying and prosper. If anybody has not yet passed the NCLEX, this is your first step to coming to the US. And today we're going to be talking about that step at the end of the success path, which is enjoy and prosper. Okay, so let's get started. Onwards and upwards. Grace and Bong, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourselves? Tell us a little bit about your background as a nurse and how long you've been in Florida. Grace, ladies first.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. It seems like your video is frozen, but we can hear you. Go ahead, Grace.
Okay. So my name is Grace. I'm from India. I graduated as a BSN from India. I worked there for a couple of years, and then we moved to Middle East. I worked in Dubai and Abu Dhabi for about 22 years. And we moved to Florida as a family, I think March 2020. So it's 1.5 years since we are here in Florida.
Okay. Just as the pandemic started, Grace.
Yes.
Challenging enough to come to America, very exciting and very scary at the same time, but coming during a pandemic, we can't wait to hear about your experience, because I'm sure that there were a lot of highs and some lows as well coming during.
Yeah, but we are settling down slowly. Yes, it's good.
Good. It's good. We love to hear that. Okay, Bong, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yes, my name's Bong. I'm from the Philippines. I did my BSN. I finished it in 1994, and I've been a registered nurse since 1995. I've been to Singapore. We worked there for 2 years, and then we moved to UK. We worked there for like almost 17 years. And then we moved here in the US, in Florida, in July of 2018. And we've been here for, just over 3 years now. And we're enjoying it.
Good. Well, we're happy that you're enjoying it. And I think it's going to be very interesting for everybody who's watching to hear your different viewpoints, because both of you were pretty settled where you were, Bong in the UK and Grace in the Gulf states. And coming to the US when you've been settled in one place, I think, has its whole nother set of challenges. But great that you're both here and that you are both getting settled. I see we have a lot of people who are joining us. We have Tahir is saying hi. Irvin is saying we love Connetics USA. Thank you, Irvin. We love Niners. Nashua is saying, can I have a life in Texas, especially Temple? Nashua, keep watching Onwards and Upwards stateside. Each month we do a different state, and today is Florida, but Texas is coming up. Rissel is saying hi, everybody. Tilda's saying hi. Tilda's asking about the rate of pay in Florida. So Tilda, this is something that we will talk about. Keep watching in the show. And Erwin is saying hi. So please, if you are watching from all over the world, please put into the chat where you are watching from, and if you have any questions for both Grace and Bong. Okay. So Jansen's from Qatar. Welcome, Jansen. Okay, so let's talk about Florida. For many international nurses, they want to come to the US. They might hear about Florida. They might hear about California, New York, Texas, and those are maybe some of the more common places. But many people might hear about Florida, but don't know very much about it. So before we talk about Florida in detail, let's look at the map. So let's go back to that graphic and see where Florida is. So Florida is known as the Sunshine State. And it is in the southeast tip of the United States. You can see there at the bottom of your screen exactly where Florida is, and it is really at the very most southern tip. Florida is known for sunshine. It's known for its beautiful beaches. It's known for being a tourist destination. There's great food. We've of course got Disney World, the happiest place on earth, lots of theme parks. So lots of fun things to do and see in Florida. If anybody knows what is the annual average number of days of sunshine in Florida, please put that into the chat. We'd love to hear from you. If anybody knows how many average days of sunshine do we have in Florida, put that number into the chat. Bong, we seem to have lost Grace, but can you tell us, and hopefully she'll be back soon, what do you like about living in Florida?
First of all, the weather.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's something like back home in the Philippines. It's subtropical, so we got everything. We got sunshine most of the time. We have four seasons here as well in Florida. If a lot of people doesn't know that we have a winter as well, but it's a dry winter. It's still sunny, although you have like frosty, roof of the houses early in the morning, but as soon as the sun rises, it's just gone and nice and cold and sunshine all the time.
Sunshine. So our fun fact for today was how many days of sunshine do we have in Florida? And I see that Maria had a guess. Hi, Maria. She said 360. Adela said 237. Adela, you are the closest. Jennifer's saying 300 days of sunny weather. Let's see who else gives a guess into the chat, and then I'll let you know the answer. So the climate, Bong, is great in Florida. Grace, what else do you like about living in Florida?
Living in Florida, the climate, as you said, that's the first thing. Second thing, the traffic. We found it like a huge difference from where we lived in the Middle East. People generally follow the traffic guidelines. When you go to a grocery store, a supermarket, nobody jumps the queue. People are a lot more patient. That is one good thing which we noted. And pollution, it's certainly much lesser. When you come back from a tiring work, when you come back, when you drive back, it's so refreshing to watch the trees and the lakes and the swans and whatnot. You feel so close to the nature. So actually, I like it here. We as a family, we love it here.
Well, we love that. Florida is known to be a very beautiful area. So it's got beautiful beaches, lakes, scenery, vegetation. So it's great that you're enjoying that. One other thing that's great about Florida is the low cost of living and no state tax. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we only have the federal tax. So when compared to some of my friends who live and work in the other places in the US, I think we are taxed much less. That's one good thing. And when people buy houses, property, they say, like Florida, the house, the taxes are also much lesser. That is one good thing. Another good thing which I liked is like when I came through Connetics, I get paid just like any other American does. Actually, I had not believed that when I till I reached here and when or until I got my first salary. So it is what you said. Yeah, you get paid just like an American nurse, depending on the number of years of experience you have.
Thank you for raising that, Grace. That's an important point. So, Connetics USA are direct hire, which means we don't sponsor the nurses, we don't pay the nurses. You're not employed by Connetics USA. You are employed directly by the facility. And because you're paid directly by the facility, you get paid the same as an American nurse. Very important for international nurses to educate themselves about the difference between direct hire and a staffing company. So, thank you for sharing that. So I see we have a lot of people in the chat that are commenting and watching from all over the world, which is so great. So Jansen from Qatar and Irvin, how is the family of four? So we're going to hear Irvin about both Grace and Bong's families. Gia is calling in from Canada. Irwin is from Vienna, Austria. Adamazi, hi Adamazi. Maria Francis from Canada. Adele from Cebu. We've got Kurik, Janique from Jamaica, Chabal from the UAE. Lots of people watching from all over the world today, Grace and Bong. Adele is saying 237 days of sunshine. Tracy from Australia, Nazreen from Jamaica. Wow, lots of people from all over the world, which is so fun to see. And I see Miquette. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Mikit is from South Africa. I went to Florida a few years ago to visit. I fell in love with Florida, and I would really like to go and work there. Mikit will contact Connetics USA on our website. We would love to help you. I'm from South Africa originally. I came here 21 years ago. I'm now a proud American, and we would love that for you too. Okay, so there are a lot of good things, as both Grace and Bong said, about living in Florida. What are some of the things? I mean, let's be honest, that not every place is perfect. What would you say you don't like about the lifestyle in Florida, Grace and Bong? Go ahead, Grace.
Okay.
So actually, one thing which I did not like, but maybe it's going to change for sure. I'm praying about it. See, my husband is not from the medical profession, so it's very easy if you're in the medical profession to get a job here. Yeah, if you're like nurse, for example, we're very sure. He is from the civil engineering sector, so maybe it's the part of the place where we live in, not much of development, not much of construction and buildings and all of that. So he's finding it a little difficult to find a job. I think he has to do some certifications from here. Anyway, we are looking forward to it. Hopefully, one day God will open the door for him. Yeah, that's one good one negative side which I felt. But like technicians, like AC technician, plumbers, fitters, oh, you can get easily employed. But if you are like a non-medical professional and executive, it might be a challenge. That is one thing which I felt negative.
Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. Bob, what about you? What are the things that you don't like in Florida?
Well, what I notice, it's because we have wide roads here in Florida, and it's just easy to drive. People are on their phones while they're driving. I think that's one thing. I think it's a lot of causing sometimes of like accidents on the roads because it's just open driving. It's wide roads and easy to drive and easy to go to places where you want to go. And yeah.
So driving can be a little bit challenging, depends on what your spouse's work is. And Tilda is saying, thank you, Miss Grace, for being honest. I pray that he will get a good job soon. And we share that thought with Tilda and with everybody who's watching. And Bong is talking about the driving. I see that Maria Francis is asking, would love to work in Florida, but wondering how you both manage with the snakes, with the lizards and the snakes, and lots of bugs, right? How do you manage with that?
Well, Actually, uh, because the house that we are now, this is originally a conservation area, so it's like full of trees and everything. When we moved here like 2 years ago, I mean a year ago, we I found a couple of snakes at our patio. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But it's those snakes are like not harmful. They're like they call them the rat snakes anyway. They're little, so I just put them in the jar and take them to the places where they, like the tree uh, conservation areas. And lizards, they're everywhere, but don't kill them because they're very helpful. They eat the insects,
Mhm.
so they're very
Ah,
helpful to
that's
us too.
important to know.
Yeah, even the rat snake, because they chase away the rats, so they're very helpful too.
Ah, good to know, Bong, for anybody who is going to be going to Florida, of how to deal with the insects or the lizards or the snakes. I come from South Africa, from Durban, so this was also like a very tropical area, so we had a lot of snakes. And I can tell you quite honestly, I mean, you learn to live with the lizards. It's just kind of part of life. You just don't even think about it. But I got to say, snakes really freak me out. I'm nervous of snakes, even even on TV. I have to flip the channel. But there are so many good things about Florida. So no place is perfect, and thank you for sharing some of the things that you don't like. But really, overall, I think that Florida is a great place to live. It's a great destination. Lots of tourists go to Florida, and we've got a short video that we're going to play now, which is going to just give you just an overview of Florida. And then Grace and Bong are going to come back and tell us about where specifically they live in Florida. So we're going to show that video clip now and show you just an overview of Florida and what things look like. Okay, go. Okay, so even though there might be snakes and lizards, there are a lot of very good things about Florida. And we're going to hear from Bong and Grace now about specifically where they live, because people think of Florida as one kind of place in totality, but actually things can be very different within the state. And there can be a lot of variation depending on where you specifically live. Okay, Bong, do you want to tell us where you live in Florida, and then Grace, you can share with us.
Yes, we live here in Wesley Chapel.
Uh-huh.
It's 25 miles from the main Tampa, but our place is part of the Tampa Bay area. So the Tampa Bay consists of like 4 big counties,
Uh-huh.
and our place is one of them. When we drive to the western side, that's about 40 minutes drive. That's going to Clearwater or St. Pete's. We drive to the eastern part. We go to Orlando. That's about an hour drive to Disney World, and everything is very close. The main roads, which is like the I-75, that's going to Miami to the southern part, and going to Jacksonville to the northern part is only about 10 minutes drive. And everything is very close here. If you love beaches, if you love funs like rides, music, arts, museums, they're they're everywhere. It's very close proximity to where we live.
So in the Tampa Bay area, Bong, where's the closest airport?
It's the Tampa International Airport. That's the closest airport to where we live. It's around from our place around 30 miles.
So
So it's very close.
everything is very close. Let's go back to that map so Grace can tell us a little bit about where she specifically lives. Go ahead, Grace.
Okay, so we live actually in Lake Mary, which is in Orlando, but it's about like 30 minutes from main downtown Orlando. So this is like a countryside. This is actually very close to my workplace. That's one of the reasons why we chose here. And another reason why we chose this place is the school district is very good. So my son was still in high school, so that's one of the reasons why we chose it here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have different groceries like and Walmart, Publix, all of the necessities and supplies, hospitals all nearby. That's very good. And the airport is Orlando International Airport, which is about 50 minutes drive from here.
Okay. And I think the one thing that people might be surprised about is how close a lot of the things are in Florida, and that there are just so many things to do. Well,
Yes.
I know that you used to live in Orlando. How is Orlando different to where you are now in Tampa Bay?
Um, when we live in Orlando, we kind of, because we were looking for houses at that time when we were there too, because Orlando is already developed place, so it's very difficult to find a new housing at that time. You have to move to the northern part of Orlando, like the Sunford, something like that, to look for houses. And it can be very far to where my wife is working at that time. So we kind of moved here. We have family here in Wesley Chapel as well. So that's the reason why we decided to move here. And there's still a lot of new houses, new communities here, because the Tampa area on the southern part is already it's already developed. So the rest of the free lands and communities is going to the northwestern part of Tampa. So this is where we are, and this is where we found our dream home.
Okay, and we're going to hear about Bong's dream home. So keep watching until the end of the show because we're going to talk about housing. I see we have one or two questions coming up about housing and apartments as well. So we're going to be covering that towards the end of the show. I think Jansen is actually going to win the poll. So Jansen said 233 days of sun on average. And the correct answer, Jansen, is 230. So when I look in the chat of everybody who gave a good guess, and you're all pretty close actually, I think Jansen is the closest. So definitely the Sunshine State. Um, Grace and Bong, before you came to Florida to live, had you ever been here before, Grace?
No, it was my first time in US.
It was your first time. And Bong, I think you'd been here before, correct?
Yeah, we came here in 2011 when my daughter celebrated her seventh birthday. We took her to Disney World, and
Ah,
that's the first time we've seen the place, and we really loved it.
okay. So Grace, how was it different to what you imagined? Because I know that you've been trying to come to the US for many, many years,
Yes.
and you had never been to Florida before. I'm sure you were dreaming about it and thinking about it. What was different than what you expected?
Uh, See, we came here, on an immigrant visa, a green card. Only when we came here, we know the benefits and the privileges associated with a green card. That's one thing. Number two, it's mainly for the kids' education. You have a lot of choices, a lot of flexibility. Kids, if they are like, they have a passion, if they are sharp, and they have a determination to move forward to whatever profession they want to choose to, they always have plenty of options and a lot of support system. There is many scholarships that is available. There is FAFSA, that is the Federal Student Aid, where you get $6,000. That's like a free money. So that is one good thing about it. And when coming to nursing, for me, if I want, I'm already a bedside nurse for about 27 years. So if I want to move, like if I want to move into a case management or do some higher studies to be an advanced practice provider, there is a lot of opportunities for that. And you see many people doing it. So you kind of have a motivation, even though I'm this much, like I've crossed a certain age, but still, you are motivated to do it as well. So that is good. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing because I think that's really one of the main reasons why people come to America is for the career opportunities and for the growth. It's
Yeah.
not limited by any means by age. And it's really up to you, whatever you want your life and your career opportunities to be. So that you correct, that is very inspiring.
Yes, another thing which I noted is the value and the respect you get as a nurse here. That surprised me. Yeah.
That's good to know. And for any nurse who's watching from overseas, I
Yeah.
think that can be very heartwarming because it really is such a difficult job, and especially now with the pandemic, to
Yes.
know that you are recognized and valued and acknowledged, I'm sure is very heartwarming.
Yes.
Kimi has a question for you. And Kimi says, "Hi, Miss Grace, coming from the UAE, how is Florida when it comes to safety, especially for us expats?"
Yes. Okay. So I think the crime rate, when compared to other parts of the US or other parts of the world, it's much lesser. So as of this last 1.5 years, according to my assessment, it is a safe place to live in.
Okay. So that's good to hear. And I think we've also got to say that, of course, wherever you live, anywhere in the world, there's going to be some crime. So, you want to be upfront about that.
Yes. Yeah.
But overall, I think Florida's, a pretty safe place to live. And Erwin is asking, what is the positive side from UK to US, Bong?
Yeah, well, like what Grace said, it's the salary,
Mm-hmm.
your years of experience from the past. They will look at that one and they will reward you. They will add some more into your salary. The level of recognition of nurses here in the U.S. is incomparable. They have a very high regard of frontliners, nurses. They look up them all the time.
And Grace said the same. So I think that Erwin says it all. Cherik is asking, what are the hospitals in Florida that is hiring under Connetics USA? Cherry, we have many. We have many, many, many hospitals right now. I've personally been doing this for almost 15 years. We have never seen as many hospitals right now hiring international nurses as at this current time. And I think the biggest reason is that there is a nursing shortage, as many people know, and the hiring of international nurses is never intended to replace the recruitment of American nurses, but there just simply aren't enough nurses in the US. So there really is a wonderful opportunity right now, and we have many, many opportunities in Florida as well as other places in the US. So if you are interested, please apply to our website, connetixusa.com/application. Okay, fun in Florida. Um, Obviously, Florida is a very fun state. I mean, you have the beaches, you have lots of beautiful things to see, you have theme parks, you have lots of cities. Tell us, what are the favorite places that you have visited, Grace, either in Florida, and I know you haven't been there for very long, so that's something that we need to take into account, but either in Florida or in the surrounding areas.
Okay.
I think we have some pictures we can show of Grace
Yeah.
on some of her travels she can share with us. Go ahead, Grace, and tell us
So
about some of
actually,
the.
we haven't gone to Disney, Universal Studio, and I think this is all part of like maybe early part of next year. That is what we're thinking about. When my daughter comes over, together we are planning to go. But when my daughter was here in September, we went to Tennessee. It's a go-to, and everybody should go there and visit that place. It's about 10 hours, I think, drive from here. So we really enjoyed. We went to the Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg, Ruby Waterfalls. It was like a 4 days trip. We went with another two families, so it was a pleasant trip. Actually, you never get bored here. That is one good thing. Yeah. It's not a concrete jungle. So even if it is a short ride or a long ride or you're traveling interstate, you never get bored. Yeah.
Lots to see and lots to explore.
Lots. Yes, yes.
Bong, we have some pictures of some of your trips in Florida or in the surrounding areas. Talk us through that. because you've been here for longer than Grace, and poor Grace came in the pandemic, so you've had a lot more time to explore. To share with us a little bit about your travels, both in Florida and the surrounding areas.
Yeah, well, these are the our favorite places to go. The Disney World. This is where you see a lot of, like, from young to old to middle to youth. Everybody enjoys to go here in the Disney World, and it's never ending. Clearwater, Daytona Beach, and a lot of beaches around the areas that you will find it very peaceful and very calming. If you are a bit stressed from work, you just drop by. It's only like 40 minutes drive, and spend the like the sunset. Um, and there's a lot of plenty things to do. We've been here for 3 years, but we're still exploring. The most southern part that we've been to Florida is Miami, and we've been up to Jacksonville. We've seen a lot of beautiful places and fun things to do for kids, for any age. It caters to everybody.
Lots to see, lots to do, lots to explore. How exciting! Erwin is asking, do you also have nursing homes? Yes, Erwin, we do. We have both acute care hospitals, nursing homes, rehab facilities, surgery centers, many, many different settings for nurses. So if you have not done so already, please apply to Connetics USA/application, and our team are on standby to help you and to find you the right match. And Zan is saying Disney World with a big heart. So as we know, Disney World, happiest place on earth. And this is something that we want for every international nurse to be able to have the opportunity, like Grace and Bong, to visit. Let's talk about transportation in Florida, because many international nurses don't realize that when you come to the US, there is some public transportation, but not a whole lot. And most international nurses have to drive or to learn to drive if they have not done so. Grace, can you share with us a little bit about what it was like for you when you came to the US and how you managed to navigate the transportation?
Okay, so actually, when we came here, me and my husband, we both had a Dubai driving license. So he took an international driver's license and he came here. So he was able to drive with that for about 6 months or so. And then he gave the driving test and he got the Florida license. So till then, actually, buses, it's not very popular here. It's like they mainly focus on the colleges, universities, and certain institutions and such. So they might not be available all the time in different locations where you want. And even the trains are not that popular. But what I heard is like they're building up or planning to build up a metro from Miami to Orlando, which is a much more faster thing. So that should be there up and open in 2023, I think so. So otherwise, mainly we were surviving with Uber. So it's good to have a car, I would say. Otherwise, you would be spending money on Uber.
Yeah, and Uber can get expensive. I mean, it is convenient, but it can get very expensive. Did you have driving lessons?
I had a driving license from Dubai and my husband as well. So he took an international driver's license and came here. So just with that, he was able to drive around for about 6 months till he got the other Florida license.
And okay, so and did you have driving lessons?
Lesson, my husband did not take any lesson actually. He went and directly gave the road test. He was able to get through it. For me, I did go for like I think 2 classes or 2 months, something like that. Then I gave the road test. So it was pretty easy, simple, hassle-free, I would call it. Yeah.
Not too stressful. Well, that's
Not,
good to
not
hear,
stressful like how I imagined.
because that is a big worry.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, thank goodness you and your husband both drove before, but for any international nurse that has not driven before, it
Yeah.
can be very scary. Bong, tell us about your experience with transportation in Florida.
Yeah, when we first arrived in Orlando, as soon as we had our social security number within that first week, first 2 weeks, I went straight away to DMV and took the, because you can just walk in at that time to take the theory exam. and I passed the exam. But anyway, you can get a reviewer from DMV, a free pocket, a manual. You can just get it from them, review that. So that's what I did. I took the exam, and then I enrolled because in the UK it's a different side of driving, and I've been driving there for uh, a lot of years. So I thought I might take something like a lesson to drive on the other side of the road. So I took that like an hour. I enrolled an hour prior to my exam on a third party examiner, because you can get a third party examiner. You know, the driving lesson schools, they give you exams as well. So that's what I did. They took me for an hour, and then I did my exam, and I passed
You
it within
passed.
that 2 weeks. But I brought my UK driver's license anyway when I came here, and I was able to use that on the first week.
Okay.
But buses like here in Tampa, there is a route from the city of Wesley Chapel going to the downtown Tampa, and that's it. If you like to wait for hours and hours, then you take the bus. But not if not, then you must drive and
That's
get
right.
your own car. We have Ubers, Lyfts, and that's it. They're everywhere as well, but it might be too expensive to have that all the time.
So something maybe to consider initially, but a good idea to try and get your driver's license as soon as possible. I can relate to you driving on the other side of the road, Bon, because I came from South Africa, which follows the British system, which is on the other side of the road, and that was very scary because you're used to seeing things from a specific angle, and then you see cars and you feel like they're coming straight for you. So it does take a little bit of getting used to, but we all get there, which is good. Okay, I'm going to take some questions. Let's talk a little bit about community in Florida. I know Grace hasn't been there for very long and also came during a pandemic, so hasn't had a lot of time to explore in terms of the community. But Bong, Shai is asking, is there any Filipino community in Florida? Can you talk a
Oh
little?
yes, there's plenty. We've just been a previous weekend into a film fest. It's a Filipino festival. This happens every year. And if you go to Facebook, even if you're not in Florida yet, go to Facebook, search for Filipino communities in Florida. There's plenty of them. They can give you advices too. And I'm a member of most of the groups anyway. So yeah, there's plenty of help around this area. Filipino fast foods, Filipino restaurants, and yeah, it's everywhere here in Florida.
Lots and lots of Filipinos in Florida. Grace, I know you've been there for a very short time. Have you had an opportunity to get a feel about the community and what kind of community there is around for you?
Yeah, actually, we had a lot of support through the church. So
Okay.
yeah, we got connected to one of the churches here, which is my local language church. So they were of big support to us. So we used to reach out to them for any guidance, like whatever questions or advices which we needed. So that was a big support. Other than that, the place we live in, it's a mix. Like we see a lot of whites, a lot of Spanish speak people. So even the Asian population we get is a good mix of all of the communities. Yeah.
Yeah. And Florida is known to be for being pretty diverse. A lot of people there from a lot of places all over the world. So it really is kind of like a melting pot in Florida. Alfred is asking, do you accept applicant waiting for my ATT? I'm a school nurse from the Philippines. Priority date is 2014, abandoned by petitioner. Alfred, you are welcome to apply. We have many, many opportunities, and we'd be happy to help you. And hopefully, you'll be able to pass your NCLEX soon. As you can see on our success path for any international nurse, the success path will show you that the first step for an international nurse to come to the US, and here we have it on the screen, is the NCLEX Fast Pass Blueprint. So you're going to need your NCLEX in order to interview with an employer, and you're going to need your NCLEX in order to apply for your green card. Amelita is asking, hi from the Philippines, should I be an NCLEX passer before I apply in your agency? So Amelita, I think I've just answered that question for Alfred. We do have a nurse aid program, and I'm going to stay on until the end, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Esther is asking, what are your requirements to be accepted in your agency? So first of all, in order to interview with an employer and to get your green card petition, the first step is the NCLEX exam. Aftab is asking, is there any international nursing association in Florida? How about guidance and support system for newcomers? Barnward Grace, I think you've spoken a little bit about the support that you and the guidance that you have from the community or from the church. Any input about the international nursing associations?
I am a part of American Nurses Association, but I haven't reached out to them as such for any support, so I won't be able to answer much regarding that.
Okay. What about you, Bong?
Yeah, here in Florida, we have the Philippine Nurses Association, Tampa. We have Philippine Nurses Association by the Gulf area. We have plenty of nurses and we have plenty of supports if you need to. You want to become a member. Philippine Nurses Association are everywhere in the U.S. Here in Florida, there's plenty of nursing association, Philippine Nurses Association.
So lots of help and lots of support. And Connetics have a 5 out of 5 rating on our Facebook page. Check that out, and you can see some of the many ways that we help nurses to adjust and settle in and set them up for success when they arrive. Okay, Donna. Oh, let me just see. I'm trying to get through as many questions as I can. Eileen is asking, how many days do you work in a week? Grace?
3 days a week, 36 hours. That's mandatory. Anything other than that, what we do is considered as overtime. And overtime pay is about 1.5 times the salary, which is very good. And now, because the last 1.5 years is a pandemic situation and very short supply of nurses, so they're offering like extra shift bonuses, like starting from 250, 500, $1,000 bonuses like that. Yeah, because of the COVID situation and shortage of nurses.
Yeah, and the shortage of nurses is really right now very evident in the US. There are many opportunities for international nurses, both in Florida and in other states. So if you have not yet started your journey of coming to the US or getting ready to come to the US, the first step, as we said, on the success path is your NCLEX. So it's a good idea to get that addressed and taken care of. Maria Francis is saying, are all the job opportunities permanent, or do you have short-term opportunities, for example, 13 weeks? So Maria Francis, Connetics are a direct hire company, which means that we are not a staffing company. We don't offer travel assignments. This is nurses will come on a green card, even green card, and it will be permanent positions. Shai is asking about the Filipino community. Shai, Bong gave you some information about that, and the weather is great. 230 days of sunshine in Florida, in the Sunshine State. Donna is asking, is there any possibility for Indians, those who have passed the NCLEX exam? Donna, if you have a previous priority date, we will be able to help you like we did with Grace. If you are married, if you have a spouse that was born in any country other than India, we can assist you as well with cross-chargeability. The reason is because the visa bulletin is still very backlogged for India and China. Shia is asking, do you accept, we're getting so many questions today. I love it. Do you accept applicants with NCLEX but still no IELTS? The answer is yes, Shai. Connetics have our own IELTS course, and we have had phenomenal success with our IELTS course. And look at our YouTube page, our Facebook page, and our LinkedIn page, and all of our social media, and you'll see the enormous amount of nurses who are passing their IELTS through the Connetics course, and this is offered free to all Connetics nurses. The IELTS course is offered free. Yanni's asking, how about those with no experience? Yes, Yanni, we can help you. We have many opportunities that will also take nurses with no bedside experience. July is asking about the weather and the hours and 12-hour shifts. Grace, is it 12-hour shifts you're working?
Yes, it's majority of the hospitals in the US. What I have come to know is they do a 12-hour shift. Yes.
Okay. All right, lots of questions. So let's keep going. We want to talk a little bit now about schooling, about children and schooling. Both of you had kids, both of you brought your kids to Florida. Can you share with everybody who's watching a little bit about what that was like? Go ahead, Grace.
Okay, so when I came in, my son was in grade 11. He completed grade 11 already, and he joined as a grade 12 student here. We were very worried, thinking it's a pandemic situation, how it is going to be. It's very different because he is used to the Indian syllabus only, and this is a US syllabus, how it is going to be. But we got a very good support system, starting with the principal, the vice principal, the school counselor. They were a big support to us, and I think every 3 months or so, we had an opportunity to have one-to-one chat with the counselor, just to see how his progress, where he's lacking, what he needs to do, and everything. And what I understand is still grade 12. It might be different in different parts of the world, the school education system. In US, till grade 12, you have to learn all of the subjects. I mean, science, the history, the geography, English, math, like this, all the subjects you have to learn till you are in grade 12. When children, they are in grade 11, grade 12 itself, they start applying to different colleges, and then they start earning extra credits, like from voluntary work and stuff like that, to gain admission to good universities and colleges. The place where I live in, we have a lot of community colleges and some very good ones as well. So my son completed grade 12, and he's joined to one of the community colleges for yeah, he's doing his prerequisites now. So we have a very good system. 2 years he will be in the community college here, and after the 2 years, he's automatically going to be transferred to one of the best universities in Florida, which is USC, University of Central Florida. So that's very good. They have periodic assignments, periodic assessments, assignments, a lot of paperwork to be done. So that was kind of challenging for him, but he got through it. The support system was very good. Yes.
Wow, that's great to hear, Grace, because I know as a mother, I came here with two children. My children were 8 and 4 at the time. But I can imagine coming with a child that is older. It
Yeah.
can be a very big worry for a parent because you never know what it's going to be like and how they're going to adapt.
Yes.
Um, uh, Gia is asking, is it all public school or is there private schools too?
There are private schools, but there is fees. But public schools till grade 12, actually, you don't pay a thing. Private schools, if you have to send them to, but I think they are costly. I don't have any experience with that.
Okay. And Grace, what do you wish you had known before you came to the US about the US school system?
School system. Actually, somebody who had moved here prior to us, one of my friends, she had told us to get a transcript of whatever my son learned till grade 12. So we were able to get a very descriptive transcript as to which subject, how many hours he has covered, and what is his grade for that, and everything. So they were able to transfer some of the credits here. So they considered those credits, and they were able to transfer some of it here. That was a good thing. And what uh, give me some time to think about it.
Okay, we'll come back to Grace. Bong, share with us your experience of bringing kids to the US and what the schooling and the education was like.
Yeah, when we arrived here, our daughter was 13 at that time, going to second year high school, first year high school, and our son was 8 at that time. Yeah, it's there's a big support actually from all over the schools, from the principals, from the counselors, and they were able to adapt very quickly. They were enjoying the first week. We thought that there's gonna be like no, I don't want to go to school, something like that. But they loved it. They wanted to meet new friends straight away when they went to schools, and they've been telling us what their experience are every time they come home. And like what Grace said, because now my daughter will be graduating high school, she'll be going college next year, and she just applied for the Bright Future scholarship here in Florida. So you have to have a certain GPA and community hours, like you can do like 100 or 50 hours. And if you are an in-state student, you can get like a lot of discounts as well in school, or uh, um, like the FAFSA that Grace has mentioned. You can apply for that if you think that you need some assistance with the tuition fees and everything that they use in school. And well, one thing like right now, free lunch for all the schools, so you don't have to worry about packing the lunches for your kids. You just give them water, and they go to school. And the school system here is brilliant. They're very supportive. If because it's something like a zoning as well. So if you happen to be in a school in a zone that it's not covered by the school that you like, there's something that they call a magnet school, that if that school that you like and you're not in the zone, you can apply into that, because some schools they offer a different curriculum as well, so you can apply for that. But the only thing is they don't cover the school bus, so you have to take your child to school and pack.
Okay. Okay, so that's a lot of good information, especially about zoning. Grace, can you talk a little bit about zoning? And then Joy has a question about college, because you've gone through that experience.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about those two things, zoning and college?
So school, uh, you have to look at the rating of the school, which is very important. So you can choose a school district where, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we live in Lake Mary right now. And like how Bong mentioned regarding the school zone, you have to be living in that particular locality or within that school district to be admitted to that particular school. Like to simplify it, you can't be living like 50 miles away and say that, okay, I want an admission in this particular school, I'm going to drop my kid to the school and off from school. You can't be saying that. So you have to be living in that particular school district. So look out for the school rating when you're choosing to live in a particular destination. Of course, it has to be closer to your work as well.
Okay, so that gives a lot of clarity, because for many international nurses, they don't realize that. And it's really important, especially when you arrive in the US and you're looking for housing, if you've got kids that are going to school, to know that the zoning happens, so that you can hopefully look for a place within a specific zone that is allocated for the school that you are looking at for your children. Which takes us to our next question, which is about housing. And I know we had a question about housing. I think somebody was asking, I'm just looking in the chat, about a 2-bedroom apartment. How much does it cost to rent? So we're going to talk about a little bit about renting, as well as I'm just looking for the question and I don't see it here. I know somebody asked about it, about apartments. Grace and Bond, can you talk a little bit about renting an apartment and how much that costs and how you went about that, or renting
Okay.
housing?
Okay, so when we came in March 2020, so we started living in an apartment from the last week of April onwards. So we did not. That's one of the things which they look at, is the credit score when we have to rent an apartment, which we did not have. So what they asked us instead was the offer letter from the hospital and the salary certificate. So with that, I think we had to pay 1 month extra deposit because we did not have a credit score as such at that point in time. So we live in a 3-bedroom hall apartment, which is quite okay for us. It's like maybe 1,500 square feet or something like that. So the rate, I mean, the rent is about $1,500. 1,500, yeah, $1,500. Actually, the utilities, the water and the electricity is very reasonable. We pay maybe $50. Certainly, it's less than $80 in a month for the water, and separate for the electricity, more or less the same. It's $60, $70 in a month. Those are very reasonable. Yeah.
So very reasonable. One of the most difficult things for international nurses when you come here, especially when you're renting in your apartment, your first apartment, is you don't yet have credit history. If anybody has not seen the show, our Onwards and Upwards show about credit history, please go and watch that. You can see it on our YouTube channel because we have a lot of information about credit and what is it and how to build it, because that can be one of the biggest challenges. Um, Gia is asking, I'm wondering about the housing. Which is it better, to rent a house or an apartment? And if so, how much? Bong, I know you've done both. Do you want to maybe give your opinion about renting and buying and what a nurse should do first, and then share your experience of buying a house?
All right. Well, we when we arrived in 2018, we rented an apartment in Orlando. We've been there for 2 years. So in an apartment, if you rent like shorter term, it can be more expensive. If you rent like 12 months or 14 months, it can be cheaper. But just play on to how long you wanted to rent, or if you're planning to buy a house, so you can get a proximity when you finish your apartment and then buy a house. So comparing renting and buying a property, it's more beneficial and to buy a house, because you're not wasting your money. You're putting your money into like savings, and later on, and you will get it back. And plus, right now, from last year alone, the prices of properties increased by around 24%, and even rentals from last year, it increased to about 38%. From nowadays, you're lucky if you can rent an apartment, a two-bedroom apartment, for $1,700. That will be a good price. And if you're thinking of buying a property, you have to build your credit scores. Start with building your credit score, like keep checking. Don't miss any payment on your credit cards or anything like that, because that will be very bad for your credit history. So that's what you do. Build your credit score, and then if you think that you're ready to buy a house, go and look around and check the places that you like, the school districts, like Grace said. Uh, Check the schools if you have kids, and you can look onto the niche and refer to that, the rates of the schools. And then if you think you're ready, then get it. You have to get assessed by realtors, and if you pass with the assessment, then that's the time for you to build your house, or buy a new house. I mean, or even a slightly used house.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think general rule of thumb, though, for all immigrants, and Brong and Grace, I'm not sure if you would agree with this, is to rent first until you're ready, because I think immigrating has can be one of the best, most rewarding, exciting things you can ever do in your life, but also can be very stressful. And the last thing that you want to do is to buy a house too quickly before you are ready. You want to make sure that you can feel comfortable financially. We have a lot of shows on financial literacy, on building your credit. We actually have a show on how to buy a house, and Bong was on that house and he shared his experience. So if you have not yet seen those shows on the Connetics YouTube page, please go ahead and watch those. But I think general rule of thumb is always to make sure that you are ready financially before you buy a house. There are a lot of advantages, as Bong said, but that's not something to rush into. And Bong, Eve is asking the cost of a two-bedroom apartment. Grace shared what an apartment cost her in the Orlando area. You've lived in Orlando and in Tampa Bay. Is one more expensive than the other, or are they pretty much the same from a rental perspective?
Well, from that time, 2018 to now, it has drastically increased the rentals. A lot of people just coming down to Florida nowadays. So prices of houses and rentals really shoot up. From my experience, when we first moved here, you can rent a two-bedroom apartment like 1,400, like around those times, to 2019. and 2020, 2019, 2020, early 2020s. But nowadays, a two-bedroom apartment can be like 1,800 here in Zampa area.
Okay. So there is differences, and this is important for people to understand as well. I live in California. The cost of living in California is much, much higher. The taxes are much more in California than, for example, in Florida. But even within Florida, you're going to have differences. So there are some parts of Florida that are more expensive than others, where rentals or houses will be more expensive. So you can't even just generalize and say, well, Florida is much cheaper than California. There are pockets of Florida that are more expensive than others. Okay, so the last topic we're going to talk about, which is the cost of living and the taxes. Do you have any advice for international nurses coming to Florida about the cost of living and the taxes that you pay there?
Cost of living, what I felt so far in this last 1.5 years, it's pretty reasonable. We can, as of now, my husband's working. It's just me that is working, so we are able to manage. So savings maybe not much, but we are able to get by, and it's quite reasonable, the cost of living. Uh, yeah, like how Bong was sharing yesterday, the food, grocery supplies, it is pretty much reasonable. We can afford it. Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
Taxes, as I said earlier, it's just the federal tax. We don't pay any other taxes, so that way also it is better. Yes. Maybe Bong can share more about it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Grace. Bong, anything to add?
Yeah, well, we are a family of four when we came here to Florida, and at that time when we arrived, it was only my wife had a job at that time, so we survived, and we're here. So um, you have to shop around. There's a lot of places that you can go to buy, like everyday um, things that you use. Yeah, there is the flea market on the weekends. You've got the Aldi. You can buy fruits and everything that you need, vegetables, meats. If you have to compare prices as well when you go out. You go to big grocery stores, they're very expensive, taxes and everything. You go to a flea market, you have those farmers who are selling their own produce, and there's no middleman in there, so they're cheap. And there's even a lot of vendors on the roads, by the roads, that you can get your fruits and vegetables. A lot of vegetable stands like fresh produce. These are real farmers who are selling their own, harvest, and they don't have middlemen, so you get a lot of cheaper fruits and vegetables. You go to Dollar Tree. If a lot of people doesn't know, there's a Dollar Tree. You can buy utensils, school supplies, everything in like $1. So it's everything. You just have to shop around. Be wise in spending your hard-earned money. You don't have to buy expensive things that you think that you don't really need. And yeah, just that thing. Go shop around.
Go shop around. Some great tips there on how to save money. And I've got to say, I've been here for 21 years and I still love Dollar Tree.
Yes.
Lots of great bargains at Dollar Tree. Amelita is asking, may I know if you provide the airline ticket from the point of origin for the applicant and the family members? So Amelita, Connetics are not a staffing company. We are direct hire, which means that you are employed directly by the hospital or the nursing home or the rehab facility. And all of the Connetics employers that we work with will give you a nurse package. And the package will always include some kind of initial transportation, whether it's your airline ticket or a relocation allowance. So all employers that work with Connecticut will be able to give you that. We are at the end of we're actually over the hour. This was so fun, and I've really so enjoyed listening to both Grace and Bong's stories, and hopefully they've been able to share some really wonderful information, guidance, tips, pointers for all the international nurses that are watching from all over the world, and especially those that are specifically eyeing Florida and wanting to come and live in Florida. I know that we've learned so much about the housing, the cost of living, the schooling, the climate, everything that is so fabulous about Florida. And on the screen, we have some of Bong's pictures from his final walkthrough of buying his house. Great pictures there. Our first Christmas in our new home. How fun. This is Bong and Grace living their American dream, and this is what we want for everybody who's watching today. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Bong, for sharing your stories. I know it can feel a little scary to come on camera and speak to thousands of people, but we really so appreciate you paying it forward for others and sharing your experiences and informing international nurses all over the world about living in Florida. I'm going to just finish off now with just a slide about some Connetics initiatives in case anybody doesn't know. All Connetics nurses get a free IELTS scholarship. This is a review course for all Connetics USA nurses, and we've had enormous success with our IELTS scholarship. We also have an NCLEX scholarship. So if you have not yet passed your NCLEX exam, as we said on the success part, that is the first step in order to come and live and work in the US. We have an NCLEX scholarship right now where we have a free review course for selected global nurses. So you can apply and see if you are eligible. If you are not eligible, please don't panic. We can also help you if you do your NCLEX on your own, of course. Just to go back to those initiatives, we also have a $1,000 referral fee. So if you refer us any nurses who have already passed the NCLEX, this is a promotion. It ends at the end of November. So just a few weeks to go at 5 p.m. Pacific time. If you have any of your friends or relatives who have not yet passed the NCLEX, please refer them on the Connetics USA website, conneticsusa.com/referral, and we'd be happy to help those nurses. And you will be paying it forward for your friends and colleagues. Also join us on our podcast, Nursing in America. We are in the top 5% of podcasts in the world. We're excited to know. We also have a direct hire nurse aid program. So keep watching. In the new year, we have a program on our nurse aid program coming up on our Onwards and Upwards show. Please keep watching every Friday. Onwards and Upwards live show for global nurses coming to America. Every week, we talk about immigration topics, licensing topics. We will feature different states. Today was Florida. Last month was California. And watch what's coming up next month. We also showcase some of our clients every month. So lots of information to share on Onwards and Upwards every Friday. And then we are also hiring for any allied needs. If you are a medical lab technologist, medical lab technician, respiratory therapist, echocardiology tech, etc., please also join us, and we would be happy to help you. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Bob. It was an honor and a pleasure to be part of your journey. This is what we want for all nurses coming to America, is for Connetics USA to help you to live your American dream. And we finish off now. Upwards and onwards, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.